Hello, Be Smart viewers. Welcome back to another engaging episode of Manager's Mantra, where we connect with industry leaders who are shaping the future of business management. Today, we are excited to have Mr. Anup Seth, Chief Distribution Officer at Edelweiss Life Insurance. In conversation with journalist Garima Bangar, Mr. Seth shares insights on building customer trust, scaling distribution networks, and driving purpose driven growth in the life insurance sector. Without further ado, let's jump right into this insightful discussion.
So, welcome to Manager's Mantra, Mr. Seth. We are so glad to have you on board and really looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you, Garima, for having me. It's my pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll have an engaging conversation.
Yes, so I'm just going to dive into my first question, which is, what attracted you to a career in insurance and what also keeps you motivated in this sector after all these years?
Okay, thanks for a very nostalgic question, Garima. Well, I've been in life insurance for 16 years, but let me take you through how life insurance happened to me
Mhm.
and then how this journey of last 16 years has been one. So, well, I started my career after my B school. When I was 21, 22. I started an entrepreneurial venture, which
Okay.
was in the internet services called InMatch, which was a co-founded business by me. I had a chance of working with large investors like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, Ashish Kasholia. They had funded us from Rare,
Wow.
and so happened to scale that business for 5 years. And then we later on had an exit on the business with a company called Discovery, which acquired us. So I had a chance to meet visionaries and leaders and experience the B2C retail digital space.
Right.
Thereafter, I had a chance to work with Kishore Biani, which happened again through Rakeshji's office.
Mhm.
I worked in retail. I ran Big Bazaar, Pantaloons, the digital business of Future Bazaar also.
Okay.
And so I had a good experience on retail, digital, large scale mass formats. And then I moved on secondment from Future Group to Generali.
Mhm.
And so what started as a secondment, essentially life insurance was a step ahead in my career, moving as from a founder member to scaling the business up. So I got experience to life insurance through that as an accident. So started as money and career, then became into a purpose. Actually, the purpose really happened on the exact date, if I remember, was October 2009. Is
Okay.
when I, being a part of leadership team, we had the culture of meeting clients and engaging with them on the moments of truth. One such moment of truth was a claim story. I
Mhm.
went to Calcutta and I happened to give a claim to one Mrs. Chatterjee, who was 37 years of age then, having two young kids of 7 and 11. And unfortunate event in her life, she lost her husband through a cardiac arrest. I happened to visit her house along with my claim head to hand over the check. Is that's the day uh, that career move became from a good professional growth to a move where I realized that there was a purpose in life.
Wow.
As Mark Twain rightly says, there are two important dates in your life. One is the date when you're born, one is the date when you know why you're born. I think that day, a couple of things came to realization that what you did in life not only brought products and services to people's lives and gave them happiness in consuming them, but also you had the chance to shape a life in a more structural way. That claim experience, couple of nuances came in. One is that what you do does have impact on people's life, and what you did also had certain reasons why people either brought the product either by the influence of somebody helping them, not knowing what they really wanted and what size they wanted. Because story of that charity lady was, young kids and one daughter, one son.
Mhm.
She had bought a 1 crore. Her husband had bought a 1 crore cover, and when we sat and gave the check to her, she was not sure about what she does with the claim amount. While she had immediate needs to meet, but how does she plan this 1 crore in investing such that the kids had still 10 to 13 years of education before they start earning income? How will this 1 crore suffice for the entire life? So I realized that one, somebody who had sold her sold her an inadequate cover. While they sold her a cover, which was great for the husband, but it was inadequate. And the second thing is people still did not understand how financial planning needs to be done. It also brought to my light a lot of things about how claim is not just a handover of check. It's also the empathy. It's also the emotion behind how the person is, ready enough to take that decision of moving ahead in life. So a lot of things came to my light, and I realized that, you know, while I was in my journey of making money, and I realized that India was also growing in the opportunity of helping people make money, people didn't know how to get their money to be invested for them to make continuous returns from there. Multiple realization, and I that day was an awakening for me, and I realized that uh, God has put me in a position where I had a chance to run a business which had, over 3 4 thousand people working for me, over 50,000 advisors working for me, multiple corporate agency partners. So one had the reach. One found a purpose saying, how can you help India lead a secure life? How can you help India lead a financially uh, certain life where their goals are met? Uh, because life insurance, while it does protection, it does a lot of savings. In fact, savings and investment is almost 95% of the life insurance business.
Right.
And that's where it pivoted me. And since that day and now, it's been 16 years. I come with that much enthusiasm and motivation to leave my family behind at home, and come to work trying to influence the hundreds of thousands of customers that I have landed securing. Like I've been in trade for 16 years. I've secured over 2.5 crore, which means 25 million odd families in my journey. So it's been a rewarding journey, and it keeps me excited to coming back to work. But lots of problems to solve, lots of excitement in the journey, and yeah, that's what keeps me happy, and but that's what keeping me in the domain right now.
That is such an inspiring outlook. I mean, obviously, everyone knows what insurance is and, what the job is. But I guess no one really thinks the way you just narrated your journey. It was definitely very insightful. And especially, coming from your own business to then moving into, a job scenario is a very, I would say, rare thing
Yeah.
that happens. So that is something really interesting. But you've had a lot of experience across companies like HDFC Life, Future Generali, and Reliance Nippon Life Insurance. Which strategic decisions or experiences taught you the most about scaling distribution and also staying ahead in a competitive market? If you can share some lessons that you learned with us.
Thank you, Garima. That's an interesting question. See, my entire pivot in my life has been about keeping the customer in the center of the evolution.
Mhm.
Uh, but the important context is, life insurance or any category requires you to understand not just the consumer evolution, but also the evolution of India story, because you're finally playing everything in the India context. And then there's a category evolution, and there are evolutions which are around complementing categories, which are evolving as, with the consumer evolution that's happening. So, a lot of my thinking was about, let's say, is there a real problem to be solved for consumers? I realized a lot of things about life insurance, whether it was about the category being jargonized, complex, not easily understood. Consumers didn't know what and how much of each category one needs to consume. Then the other context problem that I realized in India early was that the India that was evolving from a stage of learning how to make money, because while India got liberalized in 90s, and by 2000 I think India was like going into multiple professions of industries getting created. So India was learning how to make money,
Right.
but the understanding how to make their money work for them such that they are able to make sure uh, the money is working for them while they're sleeping, also to make sure that people in India, because our education system and our family values don't teach you much about how to prepare you for making money in life and how to make sure that money is working for you. A lot of those things were happening. So there
Mhm.
was an India story unfolding where India was less than a $1 trillion economy in 2000 when I started working, to India, which is $4.3 trillion, to a gross domestic saving of 37%, to a gross domestic saving of 30%, to Indian consumers understanding, their consumption patterns were changing. For instance, while at a fundamental structural level, consumers' beliefs don't change, they change over generations and generations. They don't change in years, but their
Right.
behaviors towards categories change very significantly. For instance,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. I When I started in my 80s, we were traveling with Kali Pili taxis, and now I don't think Kali Pilis are existing. There are Uber, Ola. We book travel. You're going to train stations and booking up. To now, you get booking on your phone. Even my daughter, as the younger one, as 15, is booking her travel on the phone. Life has changed, which means consumers' expectation sets are changing with how they are consuming categories, whether it's
Definitely.
commerce, travel. So at one end, there was category problems of being complex, jargonized, not democratized, people not understanding how much they need, what they need, how they need to save. The other end was India consumption story. The other end was India change in behaviors to consuming categories. A lot of this has to sort of find coherency in your strategies. You can't build strategies keeping just one lens. You'll
Correct.
have to figure out your India context, your category context, your consumer evolution, and the change in consumption patterns that are happening in the category. A lot of big decisions got made. I think one of the biggest things that I worked on when I had the realization of claim was making sure that there has to be a simpler way of explaining India how to plan for their goals. One of the biggest decisions that you have to make is help people understand that what they're consuming is solving a real problem. It is not for the consumption for the heck of it. Because what you're selling is a very high engagement category. You'll have to make sure that the consumers remain invested for their goals over 10, 20, 30 years.
Correct.
And one of the biggest things, because otherwise you can't take the power of compounding, otherwise you can't create a goal based savings. And the maturity to tell the consumers that you need to plan for your life in series of how your evolution of your life stages are going to be, which event will hit when. So what we did early on is we created a goal based products. Essentially, the product can be complex sold in terms of what PT, PPT, cash flows. But the idea was to tell consumers in a language they understood. So the idea has been working with the category, the regulator, is to make sure that we simplify, democratize the category, create that decomplexization that needs to be happening. A lot of work went into that. I think the category, which was from a paper pen onboarding to a digital onboarding to a full integration stack with external agencies, from a CIBIL score, from a PAN validation. Now, consuming life insurance is almost like consuming apparel on Amazon or buying a mobile on Flipkart.
Yeah.
That element, and then by creating a understanding consumer mind, what is the goal I'm saving for, and how long do I need to save, and if I landed up saving, do I have the flexibility to manage the cash flows? Because one thing I realized, I'm now 48. My younger daughter is 15, my elder is 21, but my elder one decided to go for her undergrads to US. While I had planned her education saying she'll go for masters, she went undergrad to abroad, and my cash flow needed to change. So you needed products with not the rigidity of saying you'll get it only then, but the flexibility that if events happen earlier,
Correct.
then cash flow need to manage. So all these consumer nuances allowed you to pivot towards creating simplified products, products with goal-based planning, products with the flexibility to be able to adapt to consumers' evolution of needs. Multiple things as we have endeavored, even the credibility towards the category. For instance, just to give you context,
Mhm.
claims in life insurance today as FY 23-24, claim settlement for industry is at 97-98% of life insurance. For Edelweiss Life is at 99.3. So creating credibility that claims milenge, And for declaring the claims, what are the self-declaration the client has to do? What are the kind of underwriting that you do in advance? How is the regulator providing the cover to consumers? How is your entire strategy towards claim management is more empathetical and service oriented than treating that as a payout?
Correct.
Multiple things have evolved, and I think I'm glad that the category is so mature right now that life insurance, just to give you context, FY24 life insurance settled over 28,000 crores of individual claim and roughly 19,000 crores of group claim. So very large amount of money gets paid into claim. Apart from this, life insurance also has maturity proceeds paid in the FY 2024 5.7 lakh crores. Now, and making people aware that life insurance is about not just protection but also about maturity creation, life goal creation, is also about making sure that the category creates the credibility by living up to promises made, to promises kept. All those things have happened, and which is why life insurance is such a flourishing business. It almost grows at roughly 2 times of GDP growth, which means clearly if the GDP grows at 7%, you will see life insurance growing at 14-15%, whereas Edelweiss might be at higher than 14-15 because of our base being different. But yeah, building a structural organization, building a purposeful organization, creating solutions for consumers, making sure the category credibility builds in, being an active voice with the regulator to make sure the category remains competitive in the option the consumers have towards financial saving products.
Mhm.
All those are things that we've been working on, and it's been a rewarding journey for me for 16 years.
That's
Lots to do.
amazing. And yeah, it's so true, what you said about not being so financially literate, the Indian mass not being so financially literate in, many years ago. And now while the jargons are a little more familiar and people talk about these things constantly, but I guess, not everyone has still read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and so they still don't know the whole concept of making money work for you and things like that. And a part of that also shows in the fact that life insurance is often seen as a product that people delay buying. So how do you train your teams to communicate the importance of life insurance and also do it effectively?
So, Karima, one of the biggest problems of our Indian mentality is that we've come from a concept where we were in joint families.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
joint families. May I remember my dad having 7 brothers, and the family was so well knit that if one needed help, the family member was around to support.
Right.
But but now that we have moved to all nuclear families, we have to realize that we have to make sure that we make our families self-sufficient in all their needs and goals.
Yeah, that's
Apart from this, the biggest concept that is evolved in consumers' mind is, you know, हम लोग को ऐसा बनाया गया है कि we don't think about negative events in our life. हमें
yes.
लगता है बीमारी किसी और को होगी, डेथ किसी और को होगी. But I think a lot of things people have to realize that uh, one big shakeout, I think, in people's life, including my own, and I'll tell you later about how that changed my life. But COVID made you feel so vulnerable about कि ये, death and disease can happen to anybody, and one has to prepare for it well in advance so that we have not just uh, emergency money but also long-term saving money, and that uh, for living your life you need to not just be in the consumption race of consuming everything, but also looking back in life and saying, what do I need in my life to lead a secure life, and what are the big goals I have to fulfill as a parent or as a child in my life, and how do I need to plan for it. I think a lot of that introspection and realization has come into being. Apart from this, I think one of the biggest problems in life insurance has been this: no customer gets up and says, "I want life insurance,"
Yeah.
because I'll hear people saying, let me go buy an iPhone 17 Pro, let me book a car, let me book a travel for my friends, and let me do buy a new apparel, but life insurance doesn't come.
No.
जबकि अगर आप सोचो कि an average consumer for spending for a meal will not hesitate spending 5,000 for a dinner with friends. But if the same guy was told to spend 20,000 a month for making sure that the life insurance savings need or protection need at 5,000 rupees a month can be done. वो सोचता नहीं है, because people don't necessarily think of this whole thing of plan your goals well,
Hmm.
break it down and see what you need at what time. Our endeavor as to keep the organization more purposeful. All our people, we have roughly now 3,500 employees on our rolls, and we have roughly 80,000 odd agents. We work with maybe 50 odd corporate agency partners, banks. Our idea is to tell people to live a purposeful life. That the reason we come to work is to make sure that we protect hundreds and thousands of families, and the only way you can do it is by keeping the customer purpose in mind and not your objective. I remember reading this book very early, and I was in my early, late teens. It was a book by Henry Ford, which was Selling on Purpose. And the book is about, don't try and keep what is your objective in mind. Keep what the end state of the consumer will look when he consumes a product and services. And that is the philosophy which we are binding the organization, saying customer may not recognize what they want. It is our job to make them realize how their lives will play out and how their goals are important and how those goals will happen to everybody. Plus, minus 3, 4 years, it will happen, but it will happen. And how securing those goals and not disturbing the corpus for the goals for short-term consumption is an equally important concept. We did a quick sandwich generation thing, and I'll share a little brief. We found out of 100 consumers that save for their long-term goals, let's say retirement or the child education,
Mhm.
40 to 50% of them broke their investments for today's consumption, for holidays, for buying a car or booking some event somewhere. And that discipline, that you cannot have consumption precede your lifetime goals,
Right.
is an important problem to solve. And that's what we are trying to level the organization, saying be almost to the extent of being obsessed,
Hmm.
of making the customer realize that financial discipline, long-term saving, compounding, and goal-based thing is the only thing that will help you reduce your post-purchase dissonance and remain committed for your lifetime goals. It's a tough job, but I think I and my team remain excited, which is why I told you we've been growing extremely well, both in customer consideration, market share, regulatory lookup. I think that's where, well, how do you say, it's been the good to great organization gets differentiated by having the level 5 leadership, and that's what we're trying to create.
Definitely.
And just another thing to add, we've also one of the great places to work. We are ranking in the top 25 across all categories. It's happened because at the core we are building a purposeful organization, and no person looks at job as a task, but an outcome in consumers' smiles and their lifetime changing, and that's exciting to be in.
I think that's a great point, be it as an employer or as a service provider, when you don't separate when you don't just look at your work as business, but also add that human quality to it and the emotion to it. Insurance obviously is a very, human service, but I guess a lot of times we focus too much on the financial aspect or the business aspect, and I guess the best way to communicate why it is an important product or a service is by including the human element. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
But we can't talk about insurance and not mention the very recent thing that has been making headlines, which is the GST revamp. So according to you, will the recent GST revamp make life insurance more accessible, or will it get more expensive as the insurance companies won't be able to claim the input tax credit or the ITC?
So there are, I think, in my view, Karima, this is the biggest event that could have happened in life insurance.
Right.
I think this is what happened to, in a sort of equating what
Mhm.
happened to demonetization, what happened to payments post demonetization is what is happening, going to happen to life insurance post GST input uh, becoming zero, GST becoming zero for consumers. And I'll
Mhm.
give two references.
Mhm.
I think two big things have happened, and we can't be more thankful to the Foreign Minister, the government of India, for doing that to life insurance and to health. By reducing GST to zero, government has done two signaling. One, obvious is price for consumers will reduce.
Right.
But the second thing that will happen, that is a very big effect, is government has gone out and told that we want to make sure India is insured. We
Right.
want to make India take the value of what life insurance, which is a very important category to India's story,
Mm-hmm.
to help it grow. Because they want India to be fully secure. And I'll give you two references. Country which is secure is a country which has the appetite to take risk and to believe in their dreams and to go and capture it. I'll give you a simple example. When my daughter started riding a tricycle, the minute she put that spoke to be able to give her the balance,
Right.
she had the commitment to ride the cycle and she didn't look back. She knew she will not fall. Insurance is that thing that gives you. It gives you the conviction that go and take your risk in life, go and live your life to the fullest, believe, dream, create, because you're insured. When you're insured, it gives you the power and the conviction to go out and dream big. The government has signaled that. The government has said that the GST becoming zero for a category means it's necessary. And I can assure you on behalf of life insurance that the 100% of GST that is reduced to zero, the benefit will go to consumers. The entire industry in one voice is going out and making sure that the consumer benefit is 100%, which means it is cheaper, it's going to get better IRRs for you, better investment strategy, better protection strategy for you, and that's what is going to happen. What I see happening is not just prices going down, but Indian consumers will start consuming more of life insurance, which means if an average consumer in life insurance would be happy taking a 2 crore cover, somebody with an income of 20, 30 lakh rupees, because you normally take 10 times of your current income as cover, they'll start taking maybe 2.5 crores of cover. Somebody who was saving 1.5 lakh, 2 lakh rupees a year on protection policies and on saving policies will start consuming three, because there is an underinsurance in India. Most mature markets have GDP to insurance ratios roughly 5.5, 6%. Mature markets, India is at 2.5 to 3. I see this move signaling that.
Mm-hmm.
Coupled with that, I can tell you, life insurance is also spending crores of rupees on media advertising now with Sabse Pehla Life Insurance campaign. So we are going very aggressive and saying government has endorsed us with GST. Prices will be passed on to consumers. India needs to be protected much better than what has been done. You have a signaling of a category going to the market and saying, "Come buy us." There is not a better moment than today to go
Right.
and do it. I think category which was growing at 2 times GDP will probably surprise and growing at 2.5, 3 times GDP. Obviously, what I'm saying, it's a scenario over the next 1 to 3 years. It's not 1 month or 1 quarter. These are long gestation businesses, but that will happen. And hopefully, by the time I hang my boots 10 years from now, I'll go to my retirement with the feeling that I have played a meaningful role in that journey. And my organization has built a franchise which not only has the industry best product and services, but also has a mode of difference of purpose and creating not just an organization which leverages the new technologies of AI, but has a human backbone to building a more long-term franchise and quality organization. That's the endeavor.
No, I'm sure, and also, it's very promising, when you say that the whole um, the benefit from this revamp is going to be passed on to the customer. But this is also a question that I had following up from what you said. How would the customer know if a company, an insurance company, is actually passing on that benefit? Like, is there any way? I mean, with the automobile industry, it was a very easy, it is, I think, easier to get that idea. But when it comes to insurance, do you have any, small tips that one should look at?
Okay, so I think it's a very relevant question,
Mm.
but see that there's a regulatory landscape in which life insurance operate.
Right,
Okay, we are not allowed to reconfigure our products as we want to. They are all approved by the regulator.
right.
So any change that we do, the regulator has to approve a revised version of it. benefit for consumers.
Correct.
Very categorical decisions has been taken
Mhm.
that no price change, no adjusting of benefits to consumers, all of it will pass. So one, there's regulatory air cover, but I understand consumers is very difficult to interpret. But the best thing to do is, you know, before and after MRPs are very commonly understood by consumers. Let's say if I was going to buy an apparel which was costing 5,000 rupees, after GST reduction, has it become 4,500 not? Any consumer of ours which has bought products before the 21st September, which is when GST was applicable, and post that, the prices are on our platform, relatively available, clearly to example. We will not, as a category, make a single change in our current products and offering. Yes, when the new products come into play with better offering, with better, flexibilities and features, those
Right.
will be priced, and again they will go to regulatory muster, where our assumptions on mortality, interest rate fluctuations are all validated by the regulator. I told you everything of our product. It's not a product I decide today and I can create it. It goes through a full internal compliance muster, regulatory approval. You file and you approve, and then you regulator is very, very, very clear that those benefits cannot change. Those assumptions cannot change until there's something is really pivoted on interest rate movements or any other vector that is completely.
So, we spoke about this industry, and obviously, it is a very customer focused industry. And I'm sure customer feedback also influences a lot of strategies in this business. So, how does such a feedback influence your sales strategy and product decisions? If you can share some example where insights from customer behavior led to significant strategy change, that would be great.
That's a very good question, Garima. Very good one. See, one of the things I can tell you, an organization which is not a listing organization, listing with great intent, will not survive in today's time. We'll have to create an organization which listens with great intent. And fortunately, we have a culture in our organization where, right from senior leadership to the last person, our jobs are to meet the end consumers and get insights. That forms a very pivotal part of our organization culture. I'll give you a couple of examples on products and then I'll tell you how we have something as a TNPS score, which is one plus from what the other life insurance companies are doing, and how we differentiate even there, and how we have become very intentful listening organization, which benefited significantly for us right now. So, a couple of our products that we create, and I'll give you two examples. Um, we all understand mutual funds, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Mutual funds is all about you invested 100 rupees, your charges deducted, your money is invested, you'll get the NAV in whatever 2 working days from where it is. And life insurance ka ek bada part hai ULIPs, which is unit linked products, right? It almost forms 50% of life insurance private. But for our organization is roughly 14-15%. We don't sell much ULIP, and I'll tell you why we don't do it. But coming back to a product example, सबसे बड़ा एग्जाम्पल है the day I want to invest, can you make sure that the process of investing is simple? Which means in 5 clicks, just the way you go on Amazon and choose a product, can I buy in 5 clicks a ULIP product? And can my money be invested in the capital market without this delay of 2 days? Can I get full visibility on my charges? Consumers are saying this feedback कि बहुत complex है, form भरना पड़ता है, underwriting करोगे, issue करोगे, मेरा money कब invest होगा? It's the forms are too tedious. I don't get visibility on what my charges look like. So what we did is we created a product called Wealth Plus, and I can guarantee and tell you, and I'm making a very controversial statement, which will probably get your viewers to research. Our Wealth Plus product is a product which you can consume in 15 minutes. You can get a NAV end of day on money invested. So let's say you invested in the morning 10 o'clock. By 10:30, 10:45, your money will get invested to the market. End of day, you'll have your policy document and your NAV in your account, provided market working hours. Obviously, invest post
Yeah,
market hours,
of
we can't give you
course.
a NAV. But in 15, 20 minutes, I will invest your money in market. Plus, upfront, I will tell you that if you've invested 100 rupees, I have invested 1 rupee from my side for every 100 rupees you invested. So what I do in this product is, if you invest 100, your money invested end of day is 101, which means I've told you that there are no charges, there are no hidden charges. Yeah. I've given you the flexibility of making sure money is not idle and wasted. Your onboarding is simple. That product we launched as a Gen 4 ULIP product, and we are the first to launch it. Now, obviously, market has copied in some shades of gray and others. But minute you hear a consumer, you realize that you can create category leadership. Now, that product became a product which got us in the reckoning in the market, saying these are great market innovators.
Hmm.
In fact, that product also won us the Golden Peacock Award, which is probably the only person in life insurance which has won the Golden Peacock Award. Nobody has won it. Then the second product we did was a product around Zindagi Protect Plus, which is protection plan. As I told you, when a person gets a claim, let's say something happens to my wife gets a claim for me, she obviously has no protection on herself. Uh,
Right.
so what this product did is, let's say I took a 5 crore cover for myself. It on the death of the life assured, primary life assured, it automatically gave a cover of maximum of I think 1 crore for the nominee, so that in case after my death, my wife gets covered. Because normally wives in India, unfortunately, much earlier it was that the case that they don't have economical books built up for them, and their income was never there, so they would not get a cover. This product automatically gave the cover to spouse, while it paid my sum assured for mine, but it gave the wife a cover so that her life also gets covered, and on the death gets the nominee for ahead. Multiple insights. I think some of these insights that allowed us to create industry bed products and services. But like I said, insights gather करने के लिए आपको you have to not just improve the product, but also this journey from start to end. How
Hmm.
you capture the customer's attention. How do you make him aware? How do you make him consume it? How do you make him retain the promise for life? How do you service him in the end of stage? While give you one example, we've done something called claim settlement within 24 hours. So now we have a dedicated claim handling desk, which mandate is from the time get claim gets notified with documents, 24 hours the claim has to be settled. There's an empathetical journey towards doing that. We're not only just saying paisa de do, but the idea is to make the customer understand कि वो claim process करना क्या है, कौन सी दो document चाहिए, helping the customer get those documents in place, dealing with empathy and emotion, making sure that the 24 hours mein there is no ambiguity where the customer is saying, chasing where in the claim journey are you right now. Every 6 hours there's an update sent to customer, out calls where it required, but 24 hours we settle 30% of claim, which is never happened industry. Can the claim, because the grief is anywhere there, can the claim not be as painful? Can the claim be a delight? Can the claim be a reason why the customer says, I can't get the live person back, but I can at least help you get the financial continuity for those things? Can I make it hassle proof? I think long term success of the organization will be built on the how strongly we can retain this culture of intent for consumer centricity, listing organization, an organization which has the culture agility to respond on products, services, on our entire onboarding to claim experience. And I think we're in a good hand there.
That's amazing. So, my take back is that if you focus on what the consumer requires, then your business is unstoppable.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. But, for my last question, I'm going to take you a little back in your memory lane. And, you are a B school graduate yourself. So I wanted to ask you, how did your IIM Kolkata experience influence your approach to managing large teams and also complex distribution networks like you do? And if you could, share some advice for our students who are now looking to build a career in customer-centric industries, especially in the financial services side, that would be helpful.
Okay. See, while B school experience, has been one which has helped you build us the platform. One of the things that have helped me stay relevant is remaining a lifelong learner. I think as long as you don't, you stay hungry, stay foolish, and you will end up progressing in life. One of the things that experience does to you is gives you that. that sense that you know it all. I think that is the end state of it. So I firmly believe that one of the reasons for my journey and one of the reasons I'm trying to encourage young leaders in the organization that we also have is to remain a lifetime learner. The second thing is, this is life. Yeah, you will start from the stage of finding your Maslow hierarchy of safety, social. I think the stage when you uh, really get the best out of you is when you find a sense of higher calling. Because right now, I'm not sounding arrogant that I don't need money to live my life, but that stage where I needed money to live my life has God been very kind. One of the things that have now keep me excited is saying, if God has been kind enough to give an average person like me a great elevated journey in my life, I need to build staircases. So how do I make sure that I created a give back and allow people to have a much better experience in their life? So finding a purpose is very important, and that's when a 35-year-old marathon journey of corporate world will keep you excited and enthused. And last and not the least, I think I'm firmly convinced that I have a greater role as an Indian to play. Uh, I have to play an honest job, and this is not a statement of, you know, you just have to say it from a poetic side that a country is first, because I firmly believe that we all have a role. We all have benefited greatly from this India story. Whether we did something right or wrong, India momentum is taking us ahead. We'll have to play a role in making sure India also benefits from what we did. So, which means one of the biggest thing that I think India value generation happens is, see, you have to own the manufacturing of things. Yeah, because India has done a great job when it comes to, let's say, I'll give you an example of iPhone. For the last 4 5 years, the government has now made the iPhone manufacturing in India. So yes, now phones are cheaper, and the phones are manufactured in India, creates employment. But what we have to do is start creating iPhone sort of businesses in India. That's when you also retain the royalty and the brand. I firmly believe there is time that India starts making businesses which are built in India, for India, and for the world. A chance where India can build the top 100 brands across product and services and be the leader, not just in being a market which is great from a consumption story and a great market for India, middle class to be catered, but create the businesses in India,
Right.
create the value engineering in India, create the consumption in India and abroad.
Yeah.
That is what is helping businesses get built, and that is what my advice to people is, that India is at a point where we have to build the top 100 brands and services across product and services and be the best the world has never known for. Why couldn't the best Amazon be built in India? Somebody built now Flipkart and created some challenge, but why can't we build the best payment business in India? Why can't we build the best apparel brands? Why can't we build the best life insurance business ever built? That's the chance, and that's my advice to young people. Dream and dream big. You guys have had a great platform, great learnings, and you have platforms like Garima who are creating a great go-to-market stories for you. Leverage it and dream big. Life is a great story. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That is definitely very, very inspiring, right? From your own journey to, your words that motivate people to, make India a producer and not just a consumer for products and services. So it has been a wonderful experience speaking with you and, getting advice from you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Seth.
Pleasure is completely mine, Garima. Wish you all the very best in your journey. Yeah. Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of Manager's Mantra. Thank you, Mr. Anup Seth, for sharing your insights on leadership, growth, and life insurance. Be smart viewers, we hope you found this conversation helpful. Share your thoughts with us at bsmart.edit@bsml.in. Follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram for more such insightful and inspiring content. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing.